welcome to the S60 study guide review provided by Dull-Core Security. This is so we can get more qualified security officers for special locations. This one is for construction sites, which is required by a Department of Buildings and FDNY. You can get everything in here off the FDNY website, and my recommendation is go to the FDNY website, print out the study guide, and follow this step by step and highlight key aspects that you feel would be on the test. There's nothing that's going to be on the test for the S60 that is not in this slideshow. Let's get to it. Study materials for the Watchperson at a construction site. Note 1 from 2016, all Watchpersons at construction sites will be required to possess the S60 certificate of fitness. So, for this is also highly enforced by the Department of Buildings. So if you're a security officer and you're at a construction site, you need to have this. This is for New York City and New York State. You must have this certificate of fitness when you're working with you at all times, along with your security guard license. You cannot take this test or be eligible for your S60 license unless you are a security guard or security officer, for the state of New York. Here's the table of contents for the study guide. The Watchperson for construction sites requirements: you have to be 18 years old. You have to have 2 forms of identification. So if you're already a security guard, so you show your security officer license, and then you show your state ID or passport, or I think those are pretty much it. I can't think of any other ones right now. Sample, you also need to have a recommendation letter from your employer. Now, you don't need the recommendation letter if you don't have an employer. You can still take the test, but you won't be able to get the card showing that you are certified. So when you are applying for jobs that are S60s, you can show that you have the letter that says you passed it, and the minute they hire you, you can go ahead and get the letter from that employer, go back to Metro Tech, and they will set up for you to get a card. I think you can mail it in. I'm not too sure. But you need that employed letter. Here's some examples that is in the PDF. So if your employer doesn't know about this, you can send them the links. It's not uncommon for some security companies not knowing the fire safety aspect requirements that for people to get qualified, because they focus more on security. It's not out of the blue. Like I said, if you're not employed, you can still take it for job searching purposes, and you're more likely to get a job having something that is added to your security guard license. People ask me, how do I make more money as a security officer? There's 2 ways. Have awesome experience in the military or law enforcement before you get your security guard license, and have that to tack on to your current job. But if not, fire safety certificates are clutch, because they're requiring more and more with security officers. We have our FO3 and FO4 class on another video on this channel. I definitely recommend taking those. That's for events, indoor and outdoor. You have your FO1, which is impairment coordinator, which we are going to do that video next, and your S95, which gets you on the route to be a fire life safety director. And we're talking, you could be making money in the 20s to 30s an hour. This usually, this is a few dollars over minimum wage. So sometimes you'll find S60 is making between 18 to 22 an hour, depending on the site and the budget of the construction site. Your application fee is $25 an hour. I'm going to tell you guys, fail means first attempt in learning. You fail the test, go remember what you failed on, remember the test, take this video again, go over the study guide again, and go back and take it. Eventually you're going to pass. And if you look at the long-term goal here, you're going to make that money back and then some. So $25, yeah. Say you spend $100 because you had to take the test 4 times. That's fine if that gets you that job that pays a little bit more. Here's some convenience fees about using a card. The test is 20 questions, and you only have 30 minutes to do it. You have to score a 70, which you have to basically be a C average student, which is fine. Some phone numbers for additional forms. You can always check the latest revised booklets at the website. That's on, just Google S60 study guide FDNY, and you'll find it on the top of Google. All requirements to pass the exam are issued the same day. Applicants who fail will receive a failure report. To retake the exam, applicants will need to submit a new application and payment. Some related fees: change of mailing address, change of work location. They say they'll send you 90 days renewal notice, but for when you have to renew your certificate, which is every 3 years. Renewal fee is $15. So this is your job, just like your security guard license expires every 2 years, and you're on top of it because you need that to work. You need to be on top of this too. Do not wait for the city to send you a renewal notice, because in my experience, they're not very good at sending that notice. You have to be on top of it. It's your responsibility as an adult to be on top of this. The lucky part is that you can renew by mail or online. There's some exemptions for the fees. That's something that has nothing to do with the test, but you can look into it, which is all in the study guide that's provided by FDNY. The test, you have to take this at 9 Metro Tech Center, the first floor. It's right here. A little bit more payment issues right here. Cash card. I don't think they do cash. Bring a credit card, debit card, a check. If you have the check, you have to make it out to the New York City Fire Department or a money order. I recommend all those. Like I said, someone said that they don't take cash, so don't risk it. Exam site, like I said before, is at 9 Metro Tech Center in Brooklyn. You enter through the Flatbush Avenue entrance between Myrtle Avenue and Tech Place. This study material, obviously, it's here to help you. There's people that can just read a book and take a test. Great. I'm not that way. I'm sure you're not that way either. There's auditory learners. There's visual learners. This is so we cover all aspects. I've had people take the FO3 video, FO4 video, and pass the test right after. I suggest watching this again right before you take the test. You're taking the bus over to the testing center or the train, open your phone, go to YouTube, put this on, and just watch this one more time. Like I said, it's 20 questions, you got 30 minutes, passing score is 70%. I think it goes without saying, here's an example of a test. It's multiple answer or multiple choice. Some people would say multiple guess. Do the process of elimination. If if one doesn't seem like the right answer, or that one doesn't, but this one seems like the most likely to be the right answer, that's another way of test taking. Another example of the test. If it freezes on you, okay, another sample question. Certificate of fitnesses. Here's a few other different types of certificate of fitnesses. Some of them require security guard license. I don't think actually any of them except the S60 do, but just for your example, here's some items. We have FO1s that are also security guards. They're fire guard for impairment. Basically, if the fire detection systems are not working properly, oh my gosh, I forgot the name. The impairment coordinator will have to place a fire guard at each location within a certain amount of feet, and we'll go over that in another video. Another one we'll go through with this one here is S60 Watchperson at construction site, and this stops at S94. We will be going over the S95, which I suggest if you're looking to really build up your career, get your S95, because then you can go ahead and man a fire panel and work your way towards being a fire life safety director. We have to go to a school before you take the test. It's 31 hours of classroom time. I suggest Radiant training for this. I took mine at John Jay College. I don't think they even have the program there anymore. But if you compare the payout, the class is usually $500. I don't know how much the test is for a fire life safety director, but some people go to college for 4 years and they're making high 20s, mid 30s. You can, if you find the right site, you could be doing the same for just 31 hours of your time and then taking a test. And of course, there's a lot more that goes behind it, but we will get into that in a different video. Introduction. At least one S60 watch person is required at any construction site having a footprint between 5,000 square feet to 40,000 square feet. This competent watch person must be on duty at site during all hours when operations are not in progress. So the whole idea with the S60 is you're there watching the construction site when there's no other construction workers on site. No one. You're the only one there. It's required by law. Now it says competent. Do not be on your phone. Do not doze off. If something happens during your watch, you can be held liable, and that's the last thing you want in your life, is being liable for some catastrophic fire at a construction site because you weren't paying attention, especially if it was avoidable. The requirement starts from the time when the foundation is poured when all work is concluded and the certificate of occupancy or temporary certificate of occupancy has been issued. If you're at an S60 site and it's just starting, you can be rest assured it's somewhere between a 2 to 5 year contract, depending on the size of the project. So while you're trying to figure out what else you want to do in your life, you can be certain that that's not a temporary site or temporary job that's going to go away unless the contractor you're working for totally screws it up, or the other guards are just not doing their job. Where the building has a footprint of more than 40,000 square feet, at least one additional S60 watch person must be on duty for each additional 40 square feet of the building footprint, or a fraction thereof. The exceptions are where the construction site requires 2 or more watch persons, the number of watch persons may be reduced subject to the approval of the commissioner, where an alarm or video monitoring system is in place, or where the layout of the building allows a continuous line of sight across the entire building. Basically CCTVs, just giving you a visual, but the approval has to go through the commissioner. So the likelihood is that you're going to have 2 or more people at a 40,000 square feet location, even with the cameras, because last thing the construction site wants to do is pay for more fees. At least one watch person is provided. The building is being actively monitored in accordance with a fire safety and evacuation plan approved by the fire department in accordance with New York City Fire Code. S60 certificate of fitness is only valid provided that the COF, that's your certificate of fitness holder, which is the holder of the S60 certificate, maintains a current New York State security guard license. So those two have to be on you at all time. Your security guard license and your S60, and they cannot be expired. The S60 certificate fitness holder must keep the certificate of fitness and the NYS security license upon his or her person, which I just said. And it has to be readily available for inspection. DOB will send people, and they will check you out. Don't get stuck not having both your security guard license and your S60 certificate of fitness on you. The S60 certificate of fitness holder is required to have knowledge of the following fire codes and building code sections. FC Chapter 14, Fire Safety During Construction, Alteration, and Demolition, and 2014 Building Code Section 3303 and 3310. Definitions: alteration, any construction, addition, change of use or occupancy, or renovation to a building or structure in existence. Construction, the evacuation, erection, alteration, and repair of buildings or any component parts, including all operations essential thereto. Competent person, one who is capable of identifying existing predictable hazards in the surrounding or conditions that are unsanitary, hazardous, or dangerous, and who has the authorization to take prompt corrective measures to eliminate such hazards. Like I said, competent person. Do not get stuck watching Netflix on your phone. Debris, rubbish, waste, discarded materials, or the remains of something broken down, demolished, or destroyed. Demolition. Definitions. Full demolition, the dismantling, razing, or removal of a building or structure, including all operations essential to. Partial demolition, the dismantling, razing, or removal of structural members, floors, interior bearing walls, and or exterior walls, or portions thereof, including all operations incidental thereto. Erection, the assembly and placement of crane sections and components into place, including all operations essential thereto. Erections shall include climbing and jumping. Evacuation, the removal of excavation, the removal of earth from its natural position, except for any incidental removal that occurs during the course of auging, drilling, vibrating, or driving. Fastening, the combination of fastener, fastened materials, or base materials after the fastener has been driven. Powder actuated tools, a tool that uses expanding gases from a powder load to drive a fastener. Small arms ammunition, a shotgun, a rifle, or a pistol cartridge. And any cartridge from a propellant actuated device, including ammunition containing bursting charges or incendiary, trace, spotting, or pyrotechnic projectiles. Seems fun. Did we just do this? Yeah. If a watch person becomes aware of a fire or other emergency at a construction site, he or she must immediately telephone 911 and report the emergency. There should be no delays in making such notification. The watch person should also immediately notify the construction site fire safety manager of the emergency, but only after telephoning 911. The watch person must be familiar with emergency notification procedures. All construction sites must have an emergency telephone that does not require a coin to operate. Wow, that's dated. The construction site street address must be posted next to the phone or the approved devices. The watch person must know the location of this phone and must have immediate access to it. The watch person can also use a wireless phone to make emergency notifications. If a wireless phone is used, it is important to be sure that the battery has enough power to last the entire shift. Notifying the FDNY by phone is the most direct and effective way to make notifications of an emergency. When notifying 911 of a fire or other emergency, the call taker will need to obtain certain information about the emergency. Obviously, the nature of the emergency and the address are most critical pieces of information. The operator also The operator may also ask what the nearest cross street is, and if anyone is in need of medical attention, and if so, what are their symptoms. Additionally, if you are responsible for a very large construction site, it is likely that there will be more than one means of entry. Providing information about which entrance would provide the most direct access to the emergency area would be helpful in getting the emergency response personnel to the area of the emergency as quick as possible. If certain construction site entrances are obstructed with construction equipment or construction material and are not easily accessible by emergency responders, this information should be communicated to the 911 operator. The more information you have available to communicate to the 911 operator, the more efficient they can getting right to the problem to help you quickly. When you call 911, in addition to the information mentioned above, you should be prepared to answer other 911 operators' questions, which may include the phone number you're calling from, the nature of the emergency, details of the emergency, such as a physical description of a person who may have committed the crime, a description of any fire that may be burning, or a description of injuries or symptoms being experienced by a person having a medical emergency. Be prepared to follow any instructions the operator give you. Many 911 operators can tell you exactly what to do to help in an emergency until help arrives. Finally, do not hang up until the operator instructs you to. After FDNY arrives, the watch person should be sure to meet the emergency responders to provide them with information regarding the nature of the emergency, its location on the construction site, and to provide the information that the emergency responders request. A watch person should also be familiar with the following: the location of the nearest fire alarm box and how to use it, all available means of making notifications to emergency responders of a fire or other emergency, the location and use of fire extinguishers, the location of the building and construction site entrances and exits, the availability and location of firefighting equipment required to be on site. General knowledge and precautions. You've seen these on the streets: street alarms, emergency reporting systems, ERS boxes. You can see the red says fire, the blue is for police. I think there's one that's for an EMS at another site. And then here's a street alarm pull box type on the right. I've never seen this type. Looks like it's in front of a prison or something. Or a lot of Constantine wire. Fire safety 2.1. Smoking prohibition. Oh my god. Smoking prohibition. Smoking is strictly prohibited on all construction sites. All construction sites are required to be enclosed with a fence. Smoking is prohibited within the area enclosed by such a fence, including in the construction trailers and other indoor or outdoor areas in the area. In buildings undergoing alteration, where no fence enclosure is required, smoking is prohibited in all areas of the building in which the alteration work is or will be conducted. Smoking, including the carrying of a lighted pipe, cigar, cigarette, or any other type of smoking materials, is prohibited at all construction sites. So don't smoke when you're on duty. No smoke breaks. In general, the watch person should be aware of any activity happening at or around the construction site. The watch person should remain alert to watch for abnormal activity or hear any unusual sounds. Moreover, the watch person should be concerned about any activity that looks suspicious. The watch person must work in a responsible manner and should not be under the influence of intoxicating beverages, narcotics, controlled substance, and prescribed or non-prescription drugs that can impair judgment. I really hope no one's showing up to work drunk or high. The watch person must immediately report to the foreman, supervisor, or designated safety and security manager if any one or more of the following areas are not being complied with. Here's an example of a no smoking sign. Sure, we've all seen it. Durable no smoking signs must be in approved locations that is easily seen and understood through the construction site. The signs must provide notice to persons entering or working on the site about non-smoking policies. For outdoor locations or indoor locations where the signs may be exposed to conditions that will accelerate deterioration, metal or other approved durable materials that is water resistant. Yeah, so don't put a paper sign out. No smoking sign must be posted at all sliding and swinging gate openings. Any other opening allowing for access to the site by persons or vehicles. One or more locations on each floor of such buildings. Any indoor or outdoor areas on the construction site at which persons congregate. Any storage area of hazardous materials, gas, cylinders, explosive, etc. FDNY connections. When the construction of a new building, the working deck reaches the height of 75 feet or 6 stories or greater above the ground in a building, a standpipe system will be required. Standpipe systems are installed in buildings to help firefighters personnel deploy attack hose lines quickly and with adequate water pressure and volume to attack a fire. Standpipe systems consist of a network of fixed piping and hose valve connections. Water is supplied either through an automatic water supply or manually through a FDNY connection. Standpipe systems provide a reliable water source for extinguishing or controlling an interior fire in the building. The standpipe system must be kept in ready mode at all times for FDNY to use. General knowledge and precautions. The FDNY connection must be free from obstructions and must be marked by a sign that reads "Standpipe FDNY connections," so that a fire engine can quickly supply water to the system for fire emergencies by connecting to the FDNY connections. If the FDNY watchperson observes anyone may park or obstruct the FDNY connections, the watchperson should direct that person to keep the area clear. So make sure treat these connections as you would a fire hydrant. No one can block them. The sign and the connection must be illuminated by a red light. This book is provided to the public for free by FDNY 14 at night. If the sign, I don't know, that didn't sound right, but we'll keep going. If the sign or red light is defective, the watchperson should report to the supervisor or the construction site fire safety manager. Standpipe systems and alarm systems. Where a dry standpipe system is used during a new construction, the dry standpipe system is filled with pressurized air, no water. Is available in the system until FDNY charges the FDNY connection. Such standpipe systems must be provided with an air pressurized alarm system to ensure that the standpipe system has no leaks to meet the pressure requirements. The alarm will be activated if the pressure cannot meet the requirements. The watchperson should know the location of the alarm and perform a visual inspection of the alarm. The watchperson should verify if everything is in place and the system is connected to an active, dedicated power supply at all times. If the alarm sounds, there may be problems in the standpipe system. Here's some examples of standpipe alarm signs. Up top, standpipe alarm. Not a very good picture. Dedicated power supply alarm. You can see the pressure gauge, you can see the alarm, you can see the compressor putting the pressure in the system. And then to your right, you see another alarm system with fantastic wiring. First responder box. The FDNY may require that a first responder box be provided at a construction site for the first responder use. Or for first responder use. The first responder box should contain building access keys, the pre-fire plan, and other documents required by fire code. Such box must be in an approved location, and if locked, must be open available by authorized personnel. The watch person should know the location of the first responder box. The watch person should also ensure the box is located on a solid surface with clean surroundings and that it is easily accessible 24/7. Here's some examples of a first responder box. Kind of looks like a dumpster. Make sure you know where these are if they have them on site. I'll be going to some of my sites to make sure they have them now. Hazardous materials. All hazardous materials must be properly stored in safe, locked, and designated locations. The watch person should know the location of the hazardous materials that are stored. Examples of hazardous materials are compressed gas, cylinders, propane containers, oxygen and or acetylene containers, etc. Acetylene are like what's gas-powered torches. Flammable combustible liquids, gasoline, diesel, or oil-based paints, or powder-actuated tools. Compressed gas cylinders. Compressed gases are gases under pressure in a cylinder. Really? At construction sites, compressed flammable gases and oxygen gas cylinders are commonly found. Compressed flammable gases such as propane and acetylene are normally used as fuel in curing or drying operations, hot work operations, or roofing operations. Flammable gas vapor is combustible and can ignite explosively. Here's a picture of a flammable gas cylinder explosion on the highway. That would increase your commute time, huh? Oxygen is not flammable gas. However, it supports burning. It is used with acetylene in hot work operations to produce very high temperature flames. Here's an example of a propane tank on your left, the type you use when you're barbecuing. Here's a 100-pound cylinder doing a lot of barbecuing. It's obviously for industrial equipment. And then here's your oxygen and acetylene containers on chained up properly on a roller. They have to be chained up too. So if you don't see them chained up, that's a hazard as well. But these are the yellow and red cylinders are used for torches. General fire safety guidance of compressed gas cylinders. When not in use, keep the gas cylinder valves closed. Only store the gas cylinders in approved storage locations. The compressed gas cylinders must be stored upright. You can see an example of this in this photo. The propane cylinder must be stored in a well-ventilated outdoor enclosure secured by a lock. They must not be stored in any below-grade area. Flammable and combustible liquids. Flammable and combustible liquids are commonly found in most construction sites. Fuels and many common products like solvents, thinners, cleaners, adhesives, oil-based paints, waxes, and polishes may be flammable or combustible liquids. They are liquids that can burn. Generally speaking, flammable liquids, example, gasoline, will ignite, catch on fire, and burn easily at a normal working temperature. Combustible, the propane cylinders must be stored in well-ventilated, outdoor enclosed, secured by a lock. They must not be stored in any below-grade area. This book provided to the public for free by FDNY 17 liquids I think this was just something that was added in here. This book was provided by free for FDNY. This is, once again, the study guide you can get on their website. Liquids, also, for example, is diesel, have the ability to burn at temperatures that are usually above working temperatures. Here's a fun story. I know someone who was staining their deck and put all the rags together on a summer day, and shortly they combusted in flames. There was no fire near them. They were on concrete, and they just went up in flames. So liquids combusting in atmospheric temperatures, it's not unheard of. It's actually very common. General fire safety guidance of flammable/combustible liquids. Keep the liquids away from any source of ignition: smoking, open flame, hot work, operations, electrical and mechanical sparks, or combustible materials. Examples: paper, wood, etc. The container should be tightly closed and stored in storage cabinets or other approved storage locations. Gasoline vapor was ignited by a lighter. So this guy was smoking while filling up his car. Fantastic. Gasoline portable containers, there's an example to your left. See how it's well sealed up. It's all metal. Powder actuated tools. A powder or ammunition actuated fastening system is an acceptable method of making instantaneous force entry fastenings into various construction materials. The tools are used to make fastening very hard materials such as concrete or steel. The illustration below shows a commonly used tool for drive pin and threaded stud fastening. Although there are many different models, in all cases, a fastener is forced rapidly down the barrel of a tool by an explosive charge. The power load ammunition is unique, portable, self-contained energy source used in powder actuated tools. The power load may come in cartridges in throwaway magazines, such as shown in the illustration below. Other powder loads are provided only in single cartridges. General fire safety guidance of powder actuated tools. The power loads ammunition are classified as an explosive. The main supply of ammunition shall be kept in locked metal boxes. Storage of powder actuated tools must be under general supervision of an E21 certificate of fitness holder. A lot of certificate of fitnesses. They must keep the key to the storage box in their possession. Here's an example of an ammunition storage box, properly labeled, where it says dangerous ammunition. The ammunition storage box must be kept away from heat and must be stored in the same compartment or shanty in which the compressed gases or flammable liquids are kept. Situations that need to be reported. The watchperson must report to the construction site fire safety manager if he observes any of the following situations. The powder actuated tool loads are not locked in the metal box. The ammunition storage box is not locked. The power loads must not be left unattended. They must be stored in the locked metal box, like it says again. So here's an example. I know I've seen these on the grounds of construction sites. I didn't know that has to be reported. So good to know. Any gas cylinders, including empty ones, stored outside the FDNY permitted locations. I guess this gas cylinders must not be left outside. So I guess this is like something we shouldn't do. Any propane or CNG gas cylinder stored in any below grade area. No propane allowed in below grade area. So what they're saying is like a basement, you can't put it in there. It can't be below ground level. Oh, it's got a little torch on it. Nice. Any vegetation or combustible waste in the flammable and combustible liquid storage areas. No combustible waste is allowed in flammable and combustible storage liquid areas. Oh, okay. So you can see that where the circle is. Combustible waste, I guess, hanging around a storage area. It looks like plastic bags. When FDNY personnel shows up, the watch person should inform them the location of all hazardous materials. Waste disposal. Garbage must not be allowed to accumulate within the buildings and must be removed from a building at least once a day. Any waste susceptible to spontaneous ignition, such as oily rags, which I said in my example before, must be stored in an appropriate disposal container. Like this one. Portable fueled heating devices. It is not allowed at a construction site to store, handle, or use portable fueled heating devices or equipment. 1. For purpose of human comfort or any other purpose other than construction related curing or drying. Using flammable liquids as fuel. 2. Using a flammable liquid as fuel. Isn't flammable liquids all fuel? Portable fueled space heaters may be used or handled at construction sites overnight for construction-related curing or drying. The heater must be personally supervised by an S92 certificate fitness holder, so not you. Yet, the certificate fitness holder must inspect the heaters periodically to ensure the safe operations. The frequency of the inspection must not be less than once every 4 hours. The watch person should be aware of the drying and curing activities for any accidental incidents. These are portable heaters. Kerosene forced air portable heater, radiant portable heater, natural gas salamander, empty cook salamander, and salamander with coke burning. So these are some examples to look for. Elevator in readiness. All construction or demolition site 75 feet and higher must have one elevator or hoist in ready mode at all times. The watch person needs to have basic understanding of the purpose of the construction elevator operation and also needs to have 24-hour contact number of responsible persons that could help the arriving FDNY field unit to operate the construction elevator. Securing the openings. Or secure the openings. The watch person should ensure all entries and exits on the ground level to the construction site are properly secured. It can reduce the chance of entry by unauthorized persons and the chance of arson or accidental fires. You can see where my assistant put what's on the bottom in the body of this text. So it says this book is provided by the public for free. All right, so it is recommended that the ground level of the construction site should be patrolled periodically when construction, alteration, and demolition operations are not in progress. It is to ensure that there is no suspicious activity. Yeah, every hour, every half an hour, don't just sit in one spot anyways. You'll get tired. You won't be aware. You need to walk around. And you obviously can't see 5,000 to 40,000 square feet in front of you. Lighting. Building code requires adequate lighting, daylight or electrical light, to provide a safe and secure working environment for employees and first responders. Logbook, make sure that's there. FDNY recommends that a watch person documents any incidents and conditions he or she notices during the shift. The sample form is provided on the following page. All right, so like I said, here's a quick example of a logbook. You're going to see You can use the your composite books. I use the red and or black and reds. I think they're called, the red and blacks for log books. But log. When you did your rounds, what you observed if it's out of the ordinary. Also, this is not in the study guide, but if emergency units do arrive, get as much information: who showed up, fire truck, what firehouse they're with, if it's EMT, the ambulance, the people who are there, who they took, where they took them. Get as much information as possible. That will constitute for an incident report, but you put everything in your logbook. At least every hour, make an entry. As the fire guard, you're required to make hourly inspections and to record the results of your inspections on this log. Wow. All right. So, I wasn't even reading nice. I knew that. Write yes for items that are satisfactory, if not explained. Provide a description of unsatisfactory items in the comment section and bring them to the attention of responsible person. Here's an example of someone's log sheet: date, name, your certificate of fitness number, shift start time, shift ends time, fire extinguisher availability. Is there any fire extinguisher in the area? Yes or no. If not, why? Secured opening. Is every opening on street level secured? Yes or no. If not, why? And then, of course, bring it to the attention of responsible person. Fire department connection. Is the connection visible? Sign is placed correctly. Red light is functional. Yes or no. Air pressurized alarm system. Everything is in place. Functional. No alarm went off. First responder box is in place. Note for any incident. Watchperson should be aware of locations of fire extinguishers and that he or she can access the certificate of fitness, access them. The certificate of fitness holder should know how to operate a fire extinguisher in a safe and efficient manner. Portable fire extinguishers are important in preventing a small fire from growing into a catastrophic fire. However, they are not intended to fight large or spreading fires. You can see the pass method is being shown, which is pull, pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. So it shows step 1, hold the extinguisher upright, pull the ring safety pin. Stand back from the fire and aim at the base of the fire nearest to you. Squeeze the handle together and sweep the extinguisher stream side to side. And like I said before, remember this simple word: pass, pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. So just going to go over the types of fire extinguishers. Let's see. I guess not. Okay. The watch person should only consider extinguishing fires when they are limited in size and spread such that they can be readily be extinguished using a portable fire extinguisher. By the time the fire has spread, fire extinguishers, even if used properly, will not be adequate to extinguish the fire. Such fires should be extinguished by the building fire extinguishing system or trained firefighters only. In case of any fire, FDNY must be notified. So even if you put the fire out, call FDNY. That can reflash and turn to a catastrophic situation. Fire extinguishers must be used in accordance with instructions painted on the side of the extinguisher. They clearly describe how to use the extinguisher in case of an emergency. The certificate of fitness holder should be familiar with the use of portable fire extinguishers. When it comes to using a fire extinguisher, just remember the acronym PASS to help make sure you use it properly. PASS stands for pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. All fire extinguishers must be installed at the top of the extinguisher, not more than 5 feet above the floor, and a clearance between the bottom of the extinguisher and the floor not less than 4 inches. In other words, no fire extinguisher is allowed to be put on the floor. So here's an example of a proper placement, and here's an example on the right of an improper placement. Fire extinguisher types. The certificate of fitness holder must know the difference between the various types of fire extinguishers and when they must be used. A description of the classes of fires and the appropriate extinguishers are described below. Know these. I can't tell you how many times I've interviewed fire life safety directors and they don't know this. You need to know what type of fire extinguishers to use. Let's start with Class A. Fires that are caused by ordinary combustible materials such as wood, paper, cloth. To extinguish a Class A fire, these extinguishers are utilize either a heat-absorbing effect of water or the coating effects of a certain dry chemical. So A-type fire extinguishers are usually water-based. I know they have chemicals for it that have like all-class fires, but from my experience, they're water-based. It's to put out wood. You're not going to use water to put out an electrical fire, are you? Or a grease fire. You can use water for a campfire or a paper fire, combustible materials. Class B fires are caused by flammable combustible liquids and gases such as oil, gasoline. To extinguish a Class B fire, the blanketing, smothering effect of oxygen, excluding media such as CO2, dry chemicals, or foam, is most effective. If you use water on a Class B fire, you're going to spread the fire. It's not going to put it out. So that's why you have to use the proper fire extinguishers. If you use a Class B on a class, it might work. If you use a C style for electrical fire on a B class, it's not going to work. So just make sure you're using the right fire extinguishers. And like I said, they have all-purpose fire extinguishers, but know your fire extinguishers. So A class is for paper, regular combustible materials that is like paper, wood, clothes. B type, oil, gasoline, combustible gases. B class fire. They smother the fire. They take the oxygen out of the equation. Class C fires involve electrical equipment. These fires must be fought with fire extinguishers that do not conduct electricity. Foam and water type extinguishers must not be used to extinguish electrical fires. If you don't know why, you have no business being an S60. After shutting off the electrical equipment, extinguishers for an A or B fire may be used. You better make sure the electricity is off. A multi-purpose dry chemical fire extinguisher may be used to extinguish more than 2 classes of fire. Example of some fire extinguishers are shown in the next slide. So these are, this is a B and C fire extinguisher. I take it that might be a CO2 extinguisher looking at the nozzle. This is a B and C as well. That's probably a dry chem. And then there's a B and C wheeled. So I don't know if that's like aqueous forming foam or what. But just know all the fire extinguishers and which ones are for what. But your most common is A, B, and C. You won't be dealing with D-class fires. We won't get into that. Typical fire extinguishers. Symbols may also be painted on the extinguisher. The symbol is indicated what kind of fire the extinguishers may be used on. Example of these symbols are shown here. So you can see A, B, C, D, and K. So A being wood, paper, clothes, trash, and other ordinary materials. My apologies for the quality of the pictures. They're a little fuzzy. B is gasoline, oil, paint, or other flammable liquids. C may be used on fires involving electrical. It's for electrical equipment. D is combustible metals or combustible metal alloys. You're in a lot of trouble if you're in a D fire situation. And then K is for cooking, vegetables, animal oils, and fats. You'll find those in a lot of kitchens. The symbols with the shaded background and the slashes indicated within fire extinguishers must not be used. The certificate of fitness holder must understand these symbols. All fire extinguishers should be kept in good working order at all times. So, if you look to the right, it shows the ones with the black and the black line. So B and C fires. You won't use a B and C. You won't use a B and C fire extinguisher on wood and paper. So if you can see the multi-purpose fire extinguisher, the A, B, and C, all good to go. The A, B, and B fire extinguisher shows don't use on electrical. The A fire, don't use on B type or C type. Fire extinguisher inspections. The portable fire extinguishers are required to be checked monthly. The owner of the business is responsible to select a person and do a monthly inspection. This monthly inspection is called a quick check. You want to really impress your employer. Check those tags and inform them if they're not updated. The quick check should check if the fire extinguisher is fully charged, it is in its designated place, it has not been actuated or tampered with, there's no obvious or physical damage or condition to prevent its operation. So also check the pressure gauge. Yeah, fully charged. There we go. The information of the monthly fire inspection record must include the date of the inspection, the name, and the initial of the person who did the inspection. Where am I? This is a monthly quick check. Record must be kept on the back of the PFE tag or by an approved electronic method that provides a permanent record. Are they going to show it on here? Yeah, okay, good. Annually, at least annually, all portable fire extinguishers must be checked by a W96 certificate of fitness holder from FDNY approved company. After each annual inspection, W96 COF holder will replace the PFE tag. The information of the annual inspection record must be indicated on the new PFE tag. I actually know a few companies. A good friend of mine does this too for a living. If you're interested in fire safety, look into that. Portable fire extinguisher tag. So here's some examples. You can see, there's so much stuff here. Installed in the portable fire extinguisher, you see the tag, see where it's placed in front of the fire extinguisher. It has updates, who checked it. It's stamped information of certificate of fitness holder, who performed the work. You can see John Smith, Extinguisher Equipment Guru, Inc. Hologram. The real PFE tags will have a high-quality silver hologram measuring 3 inches long by a 1/4 inch high. It will have a QR code. Scan this code to view the FDNY approved company PFE list. You could also, they don't have this pointed out, but you can see the monthly inspection record. It says date by. This is where you'll do your monthly inspections, or someone will. So the next one will be on 2/1/2018, 2019. And that is it. Thank you, everyone. Good luck on your test, and we hope to hear from you when you pass if we have an S60 position available. Thank you for your time.